Founded in 1991 by patients, the FSHD Society is the largest grassroots network of FSHD patients, their families, and research activists. The FSHD Society offers a community of support, news, and information for the millions of people affected by FSHD worldwide. This is FSHD Society Radio. Welcome all to the FSHD Society Radio Show. This is Hot Off the Press episode as we bring you what's late breaking and what's happening right now to help our community out in regards to FSHD. We welcome in from the FSHD Society, Anna Gilmore. Welcome, Anna, for being here. We're here to talk about, I think, something that's really exciting because I think it's something that's been kind of missing. And we're going to get into the guts of it and how people can help, but it's the FSHD Navigator. So welcome to talk about that. Really excited to talk about this subject. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to come on today and talk about this brand new program that we are launching called the FSHD Navigator. And this is the newest program in our suite of offerings. And it really is a service. And it's a service for the entire FSHD community where people can, call us up, contact us, and get any of those sort of random questions answered.
So previously, if people were, recently diagnosed or maybe not, and they're kind of looking for either whatever their questions are, what do I do with my health at this certain point, or what resources are out there, or how do I find a clinical trial? It's any questions.
Yes.
Where did they go to in the past before this idea?
Yeah, so this work, while the program name is new, the work certainly is not new. Mm-hmm. And traditionally, a lot of this stuff has been picked up by the chapter program. Mm-hmm. So, generally, if somebody has a question, they're going to call the person who's closest to them, right? And those local resources really are the chapters and the chapter directors. So largely, those questions have been coming through there, and they still will. And that's great. We want those questions to still go through the local resources. Absolutely. But there are also people who either maybe don't know about the chapter program yet, or, there are some folks who just really aren't interested in the chapter program, and that's okay. There are a few of those people out there as well. And they might just call, the first number they find on the FSHD Society website. And really, we're centralizing all of that information a little bit, so that it comes through one person or one program rather, mm-hmm. and giving it a little more structure and support that it needs. But really, this program is supplementing, augmenting, and uplifting the work that the chapter programs have already been doing. And really, I see this program as an interwoven part of what they're doing as well, because a lot of times conversations that I have with people, I'll say, oh, did you know that there's a chapter group in your area? Oh, did you know that there's a gathering place group for that? Let me get you connected. Let me hook you up with somebody. So there's a lot of that happening. And then on the other hand, I've had at least one chapter director who calls me up and says, hey, I've been talking to this lady and she's just really struggling with this one thing. Can you just talk to her? Of course, yes. So I think the Navigator program is going to be a great resource to the chapters as well as to support them.
Totally. I mean, when I was given the diagnosis, I wasn't even given a pamphlet. So it's like, you have this, here you go, off you go. Oh, okay. And then you go to Dr. Google and either freak yourself out or you want to try to find something to kind of stabilize your thought process a little bit. I think this is a great resource for that. If I would have had this right off the bat, I think it would have, kind of stabilized things and gave you a plan. There are people, I think, that deal with bad news like this, where okay, then what's the plan? Or and there's others that deal with bad news and it's just absolute panic. And then you need kind of a voice to kind of, bring everything into this kind of a calm space. It sounds like this is going to offer a lot of those things, right?
Yeah, it's meant to be, I think of it a little bit as like a reference library. I don't know the answer to every single thing, but I can kind of send people in the right direction, right? I know all the sections of the library. Right. And so I'm going to get a lot of various questions. They really kind of span the whole board. But what's important to know, if you're interested in contacting an FSHD Navigator, is that, we really honor and respect that FSHD is a journey, and not everyone is at the same place in the journey, and not everyone is journeying in the same direction. And so what we do when somebody contacts us is, kind of hear them out, what's going on, but also like, what are your goals? What are you trying to get to? What do you need right now? And that's going to be wildly different for everybody. Some questions that we have gotten have been fairly easy, straightforward. What about this? Here you go.
Yeah.
Call me back in a couple weeks. So, I'll check in on you in a while and see how it's going. Some of them are really complex and nuanced and complicated, and that's okay too. The FSHD Navigator is really meant to come alongside you on your FSHD journey. And sometimes it's going to take a lot of research and outreach and back and forth and follow up. And that's kind of the point. We're here to be with you on your journey.
So are you concerned that the Navigator program might get overwhelmed a little bit? I mean,
so right now, and this is what the latter part of 2023, we are in pilot or sort of like launch mode right now. We're still in our building phase. So yes, I do imagine that the demand for this service will increase significantly. But coming in 2024, we are going to make some big changes to our website to kind of streamline some information that's already out there, but also looking to recruit some volunteers for the program as well. And these are going to be, highly trained volunteers in sort of a similar vein, honestly, to the chapter directors and the gathering place facilitators. So it won't just be me forever. At the moment, if you call tomorrow, you're going to get me, but it will not be that way for very long.
Well, someone has to start it, right? You have to have, because you've been with the FSHD Society for a while now. How many years have you been involved with the organization?
5.5.
So you know it well, and you know our community very well. So the fact that you're the person kind of taking the lead here is pretty exciting. I was happy to see your name was in that, leadership role in this position. Like, this person gets it. They understand people as well as FSHD. You've been in the community for a long time. So how did that come about? How did you have to raise your hand and go, I got this? I mean,
well, yeah, in a way, we really identified a few different needs and had been really brainstorming ways to design, what was going to happen next in the next phase of the FSHD Society. And this program is an evolution. And as I said, we're in the building phase right now. We're still building and things are still evolving as we go. But really, like from the very beginning, when we started talking about this, it started out as one sort of like very narrow focus. And as we kind of came along, we said, wow, really, it should, this was really a collaborative process. And so I'm still talking to a lot of different members of the FSHD community, trying to get some different perspectives and making sure that we're on the right track. But this was again, like an evolution of things that we saw a need for. And so, yeah, as the conversations were happening, I kind of said, I'm really interested. I'd really like to try that. So they very generously, let me have a go at it.
No, it's a good deal. And I think that like I said, I think you're the right person for the job to kind of spearhead this. And true, anything new, anything that you're piloting, anything that's being pioneered, there's going to be the flex of growth and growing pains. And this didn't work, or this might work better. And you'll get that from feedback from people and how the process goes. And but I think the grand goal of it all is to helping the community, helping people, either if they feel like they're in crisis or they feel like that they just need some clarity. I think this is a great tool. I think it's been needed for a while. In my opinion, I'm so glad that it's happening now. So however it looks now, I get it, right? It might not look the same in XYZ months or even a year from now. But in regards to talking about that, then, okay, so it looks like this certain way as we pilot it. Is the official launch then? When is that? And then what do you hope for it to look like in maybe a year from now?
Oh, goodness, yes. So officially, it is launching, January 1st, 2024. But you should know that the official email address, navigator@fshtsdsociety.org, exists and it's working. And if you email it tomorrow, then you'll get an answer. So we're in our gearing up phase. The official launch is going to be at the turn of the year, but the doors are open now.
Yeah, it's soft open, right.
January 1st, 2025, I hope looks a lot different. Honestly, I think we're going to be in a very different phase then than we are now, because at the moment we have 3 active clinical trials underway. By 2025, we're really going to be focusing a lot of energy and effort towards issues of access, right? Making sure that once a treatment becomes available, because we know they're coming and they're coming soon, once that becomes available to people, our insurance is going to cover it. Can people actually get hold of it? Can people in other countries get it? Or how quickly can people in other countries get hold of it? And of course, so importantly, can our pediatric patients get it? And what does that look like? What is that process going to be for them? So
yes,
there are going to be a lot of issues that we're tackling. And this is not going to be solely under the guise of the FSHD Navigator. A lot of the parts of the FSHD Society are going to be tackling these issues, but we'll be right there alongside with them.
That's good goals. I like it. It seems like it shifts as the needs of the community shift, as we are where we are now, and then treatments happen, and then how do we line up? The questions will change, right? And then the demand of what you're going to have to answer is going to change and evolve as it goes. So then couple other things I wanted to make sure I covered. One would be like, from the viewpoint of the person that needs to use it. You mentioned email, and then I assume there's like a way to call. You mentioned that. Is there any other communication tools that you're going to use to get in touch with people, or they get in touch with you?
TBD. So at the moment, it is, you can send an email, you can call, and we'll go from there. Certainly, any way that people prefer to communicate is totally fine with me. If text is your preference, I'll text you all day. That's totally fine. Yeah. If you prefer Zoom, I like Zoom because I like to see who I'm talking to, but some people just like to pick up the phone and call, or just send an email. Here are all my questions. Great. Any way you like to communicate is fine. At the moment, to reach out to begin with, we have the email and the phone number, the general phone number. But, we're looking at different website tools for some of those more like self-guided and self-service options. We're talking about different text and chat options. Those aren't open yet, but it's definitely on our mind. Nice.
And we talked about patients calling, but also is this for caregivers, family members as well?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's really, really helpful to have your family members involved and taking some of that mind burden off of you. Absolutely. And I talked to a parent who just really wanted to know about specific paperwork processes. Like, oh, sure. Let's talk about Social Security. Let's talk about insurance. Let's talk about this. And I was able to connect her to somebody who had already been through all of those bureaucratic red tape paperwork processes. And they had a conversation, and, she got some information she needed. So yeah. Perfect.
That's perfect. And that's exactly what where I was leading to is like, okay, patients, we understand what some of those general questions are, but then yes, you have parents of kids that have FSHD, you have caregivers, maybe someone that's older. Okay, how do they navigate through the changes of the disease as it affects their person? And then those all seem to be inquiries that are geared still towards the patient. Is there anything like, do you anticipate even, or maybe you've already gotten these requests of, what are resources for me as a caregiver? Me as a parent, where do I go to kind of cope with this too?
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, we do have gathering place groups for that. There are virtual online communities that meet every month. It's an incredibly active parent group for early onset FSHD parents. And there is a wonderful group called the Sharegiver Hour that meets virtually every month. So, a lot of times I am either connecting them, somebody who calls me with somebody in those communities, or, sharing that information and saying, I really think you should consider jumping on some of these calls and talking to people.
Perfect. You're kind of the middle hub of the wheel, Anna.
Right. Yeah.
And you make sure they get the right things that they need.
I can't take credit for any of the work. I can just point you to the work that's being done, right? There are so many amazing things that are happening and so many incredible resources that are already provided out there. And so I'm really just trying to make sure that people get connected to those things.
So for now, how do people connect with you? Is it all through FSHDsociety.org? Is that like the central place to kind of find that information, that contact information if they're seeking it? How do they get a hold of this?
Yeah, so soon to be a new webpage all about this particular program. At the moment, really, you can email navigator@fshtsdsociety.org, or you can call our main line, which is 781-301-6060. And I am extension 1300, so you can either go right through the main line or directly to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Stuff out there. I like it. Is there anything else that I may have missed that I want to make sure that you've mentioned if I missed something before we say goodbye?
Like I said, we're officially launching next year, but you're free to call me anytime. And feedback is welcome. Really, if you have ideas, particularly right now, I'm really trying to think through when we get these volunteer navigators, like just logistics wise, like the communication systems and all of that kind of stuff. We're really kind of doing our research right now on that. But if you have ideas, if you have experience, please let me know. This is a new game for all of us, me included, and we're doing our level best, but we would love some advice and information if you have any.
Yeah, that actually spawned one more question then from me.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be or interested in learning more about being a volunteer, do they find you the same avenues that you just mentioned with the email and call?
They do, yes.
Perfect. Yeah. And there's training. What does that maybe look like, or do we not know yet?
We're building it.
We're building it.
We are building it.
I respect that.
It's going to be, multifaceted, right? Because I think there are going to be different types of inquiries that navigators are going to get. So there's going to be some guidance around different types of things, information, resources, where to find stuff, but also, some of those soft skills that navigators are going to want to have. Nice. So there's going to be some good information, some good training. We're excited to get it rolling.
I'm excited to see how it grows. This is awesome. You're talking about it already, even though it's not officially launched, but it is accessible right now. So I want everybody to be aware of that and understand that. But we're excited to see what January brings as this kind of launches and grows in our community in a positive way. So thanks, Anna, for joining us and being a part of this episode.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Welcome. So that's the FSHD Navigator. Visit FSHDsociety.org. And we'll see you next time on the FSHD Society radio show. Take care.